Hey, this is Skullgirdle, and welcome to Undead Conversations with Carfax Haddo of Last Dusk. Carfax, we don't have the rest of Last Dusk because Carfax is the person who speaks English, and I will just say I don't speak Spanish. What I can speak of Spanish will be worse than a toddler. So rather than torture everybody, we are having the English speaking spokesperson. So thank you so much for being here. And we had just talked right before I started recording about where your name comes from. Will you please share that? Because give it your name, Carfax Haddo, and then we'll talk about Last Dusk.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.
Thank you for accepting.
Okay, let's talk about that name. Well, when I choose that name at the beginning, like more than 20 years ago, maybe, I was maybe 18 years. I'm 37 right now. I was like
still young.
18.
Still very young.
Yeah, 18. And I was into Dracula and stuff. I started reading it. And actually, in that time, like many of us, I really hated my real name. So I just chose to disappear it. And I started to ask my closest friends, which are very few, to call me like that. After reading Dracula, I was, I want to be called Carfax. Actually, by the way, this is the very first time I speak about this in an interview. Yeah. So, I choose a name with the intention of making it like a code for people who knew about Dracula and maybe gods if I've ever found them in my path. And it worked because what was your name again? Carfax. Oh, wait, that's from Dracula. And some people don't know. Yeah, it's like, if you don't know, you need
You're
to
not
read
in
some.
on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mistakenly thought you were named after a mountain retreat of one of the Crowley groups, or a Golden Dawn retreat, I think it was. So I just went to a completely different place.
Really?
Wasn't even thinking, yeah.
Oh, now I need to learn about that. It's funny because the second part, the Haddo last name, I actually took it from this movie. I'm going to tell you which is the movie. But it was just because Facebook started to ask me to place some kind of last name, like a surname. So, there is this movie, Chemical Wedding. I can't remember the year, and I won't Google it right now.
Okay, I'll add a link below. I'll add a link below in the description so people can go watch that.
Of course. Yeah, it's this fictional movie. I'm not going to spoil, but it's something related to Crowley. He's coming back. It is produced by Bruce Dickinson, singer from Iron Maiden. And in this movie, one of the characters, I'm not going to say which is called, his name is Oliver Haddo. And Oliver Haddo is taken from a book. I don't remember the writer right now, the author of that book. And Oliver Haddo is based on Aleister Crowley's character. Apparently, it was one of his enemies who wrote this book. The book is called The Magician, but I cannot recall the author right now. So I liked it. I was like, okay, Haddo could be like a nice family name. So I just took it from there. I just blended Dracula and The Magician, which I never read, but I saw the movie. It's a funny movie. It's just like maybe not big class movie. It's like maybe C or D. It's a horrible movie. Yeah, it's terrible.
I've seen
but
some
for
of
Crowley
those.
fans, can be funny. Yeah.
With Carfax, I just went to a completely different place, and I just wasn't even thinking.
Actually, I'm going to research. I'm going to research yourselves about it.
I'd have to go look it up. Because I get very specific when I research. It's like I'm watching YouTube. I watch, and knowing that I'm seeing garbage. I've been watching stuff about archangels lately. You know that you're seeing like 10 minutes of like the most basic stuff ever. But I'm watching for those little tiny things that I can start looking up. And that is how I found that Carfax. And I cannot remember where it is. It might be in Spain or something. I forget
Oh, really?
exactly. Yeah, it could be in Belgium. You know what? It could be in Antarctica. I can't remember where it was because it's a while ago. I like to research. It's something that is fun for me, and I do it for fun, which I know seems a little twisted, but also I think that names change a lot. You can change your name anytime you want. You tell people what to call
Yes.
you, and if they don't want to, then they can fuck off. Well, it's a
Actually,
lack of
sometimes keep thinking on this. I'm not designing it. If to start using my real name just to confuse people, but
well, you
maybe
could do
someday.
secret projects. You could do secret projects. Nobody knows who the hell it was.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, this singer from other band and I, we keep talking about making a secret project and never tell people that it's us.
Right. I would totally do that. I would totally do that. And then I'd probably be real cheesy about it and just like wear a shroud or some crap like that. So I love that concept, and I will probably think that everybody I see in some kind of weird mask with weird names is you. Forever.
Yeah, actually, it's great because it's some way, some exit strategy from all these social media. It's like going back to the 90s, maybe, or 80s, where no one knew who the musicians were or nothing about their lives. And everyone
you would just
was
know
like anonymous.
Pictures in a magazine. And for me, in the US, it was mostly NME and Melody Maker, and you would get to the music store finally, like the 50-mile drive, or you could get a ride from somebody, and they would be sold out. I never read about any of the goth bands I listened to. I didn't know what Kleine Zymox looked like until like 5 years ago. I had no idea.
I have a memory about this. Oh, I wish I could find one of these CDs. You know, Ariel Manicky from Costa Rica, right?
Well, I know his music. I haven't met him. Okay. This guy, he was one of like my first mentors in goth music. The thing is that in those times, he used to make these compilations, and also, in those times, we didn't have like original CDs because it was impossible for us. There was no Amazon, no internet. Right. You couldn't get them. You couldn't get them. You had copies.
Yeah.
Whoever had
piracy was the only answer. Yeah. So he used to draw anything crazy and obscure and gloomy on his covers. The first time I started to look at the real the real covers, it was so funny because of that. For example, maybe in his version of Floodland by the Sisters of Mercy, maybe there was a vampire and things like nothing related. I wish I could find something right now.
I remember stuff like that. Like when I lived in the dorm, I had a record player that had a dual cassette on it. People would give me their records, and sometimes I would just stay in on a Saturday at 19 years old and just copy to tape all of these records. And then I'd copy the tape to another tape, so then I'd have it. And the labels rubbed off, so I didn't even know what I was listening to. So when I went back to collect it again, the only band name I could remember that wasn't like super famous was Kleine Zymox. And so that's actually where I started. Now I buy all my music because I can afford it. But back then, it's not afford it. You just couldn't get it.
Yeah, not at
all. Not at all. It's like the pointy shoes. Like people like Pikes were around in the 80s, and I was like, no, they weren't. Well, I saw them, and I was like, oh, yeah, they were. Now I remember. It's been really fun in the last 3 years to have all these memories kind of unlocked from what I saw. Because, I mean, I never gave up my music. That's the one thing I never gave up. I guess I always kind of looked goth at some stuff. I never thought about it. I just really never thought about it. And I didn't remember so much. And all of a sudden I was looking through this magazine, and they showed this ad from 1990. And there it was. All of a sudden I could remember everybody's shoes. It was the weirdest thing. And when you're talking about those CD covers, I remember tape covers like that and zines that people would just put together on the street with like poetry and all sorts of weird shit in there and just crazy drawings.
And you know what he did on purpose? He because in that time almost no one spoke English like properly, so he used to change some characters or So now we realize after years how these songs were really called, like, or maybe he used to change on purpose, he keep altering like the title of the albums.
Right.
It was a disaster, but
Oh,
that's
that's
the base
hilarious.
of our local scene. Yeah, it's like very funny how everything was like a huge joke and
Right.
made on purpose
Right.
for those who maybe took it very serious in a
Yep.
bad way, in a bad manner. Because I took it seriously, but you know what I mean is that it's just like in the bad manner, like being aggressive about it or
Right.
being annoying, or I don't know how to.
Well, I remember there was a game that came out called LARPing, live action role playing, Vampire the Gathering. Have you ever heard of that?
I actually remember that, but I never played. But
Me
there was a
either.
group. There was a group of people playing it here in Costa Rica.
Right. Right. Same in Denton.
And they used to do some stupid things like hanging
Yes.
from bridges. And we were like, what are these guys doing there? They're playing that game. Oh.
Right.
It was like,
right.
have you seen this meme from Last Dusk the Vampire against Twilight Vampires?
I don't know if I've seen it.
There's an internet meme that says it's less of like, Louis, what are those? And Louis is like, they're supposed to be vampires. And then Lessa starts laughing, and he's like ha ha ha! I thought they were fairies or bloody.
I've seen that. I've seen that. I thought they were fairies.
Okay.
Right.
It was
right.
just the same. It was like, what
Yes.
the hell are these guys doing? They're
Yes.
playing this play game and they're vampires, and we were like, but they're not gods. Well, they're supposed to. Okay.
Well, some were goths, some weren't. But I know
It's
I was
okay. It's
I was
okay.
an ass the first time I saw 90s goths because we walk up. I had just gotten out of college. It was like 1990, probably 93 or 94. I have no idea. And I'm walking up,
Same as
maybe to my job, but you know, I was a late 80s person, so it was totally different. It was just when you see some of the videos, I've shared videos from clubs in the 80s because that's just what it looked like. Everybody didn't look goth. And everybody didn't look like Susie. Those are the people photographers took pictures of. So when I saw them, I remember saying, my friend reminded me of this. He's like, I hit him on the arm and I was like, it's just fashion to them. And I was so
you know what?
about it.
I wish I could go back in time and pay more attention to the game and maybe go into it. It wasn't just like, that is not God. It was just some kind of inner joke. It wasn't that we really hated. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about
like,
actual goths. But the vampire in Denton, where I was, it was the goths and then some just nerd kids that played. So goths did play. They took the goth stuff a little bit more seriously because in the 80s you didn't use that word. You didn't call it. I asked somebody about gothic rock one time and they just turned around and walked away. And I was just looking for some good music. So now that it's great with the internet, you can look it up and you can find things, but you know, there's a lot of misinformation. So how do you feel about internet goths, Instagram? And wow, that's a very loaded question.
To be honest, now that you call it like internet goths,
Instagram goths.
Instagram goths.
I have an Instagram account. I have nowhere to talk.
I guess this is something like what like that people used to call mall goths.
Yeah,
I remember
had to look
something
up mall
like
goth.
that.
I didn't know what that was.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the word, but never saw anything like that.
Right, I did.
But maybe it's the same. But you know, as malls are closing and people are more like internet shopping, maybe it's the answer, the modern answer to mall goths. And it was until the last year that I started to realize about these Instagram gods. It's like,
yes, same.
Okay. We need to be very clear on this. I'm after the music. That's all. I'm after the music.
Right.
All the aesthetics and all that. Well, maybe I don't look like that, but actually I don't give a shit. Excuse me.
No,
I don't care
that's
about it. That's okay.
right. Right.
Okay.
You can swear
I
on
don't.
my channel. It will not be marked for children.
Thank you. Okay. I don't mind about it, about aesthetics. I don't care if someone is not always dressing in black, and
Right.
they enjoy the music. I prefer that. I'm after the people
Right.
that can share with you something about music, and maybe can show you something, can teach you something.
Right.
Then
Agreed.
all these trendy shit.
Right, right. I feel like
Actually,
the aesthetic comes secondarily to the music,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
fun. I love
completely.
it. It's my favorite look. I will not lie
Yeah.
about that. But if I
Mhm.
had to give up the music or the fashion, you're goddamn right I'd give up the fashion. If I could never
Yeah,
wear
yeah.
black again or never hear goth music again, I would choose the music.
I know
I would keep
why.
that.
Because for you, it's easy. The aesthetic part is just like natural. It's just easy. It comes with you. That's all. You just got it, or not? Am I wrong? Just
No, I just don't think about it. I feel like I walked out of
yeah. You don't think about
1987
it.
no
It's
matter what I
yeah,
do.
yeah. You don't think about it. It's just you, just like that.
It is now that
It's not
now that I have a
forced.
job
Yeah.
where I can wear all this shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When I used to well, nowadays I work from home, but when
Hmm.
I used to go to an office
Hmm.
or in sometimes to a call center, I used to go just like all makeup and
So
just the same, all
you
dressing
looked
like
pretty for work.
yes,
Yeah, I
I
call it
did, I
looking
did.
pretty. I call it looking pretty. I don't care who
Okay,
you are. I always call the wearing makeup and looking nice
yeah,
looking pretty.
yeah. I used to do that. It was just me. Sometimes I never
Right.
used makeup,
Hmm.
and sometimes I did. I just did it whenever I wanted,
Right.
and it's not nothing forced. But talking about these Instagram gods, yeah, if you search for the goth hashtag, I would
Yeah.
expect to find things like the bands that I like, but I only find some shitty fashion that is not
cheap
that goth
cheap
as
fashion
I
that says
understand
witch.
goth. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's
Right.
like everything. Can I say brands?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care.
Everything is like Killstar or what's the other thing?
Dolls
Which is
kill.
good. Okay, it is good. If I find something that I like from that brand, believe me, I'm going to buy it and use it, of
Hmm.
course.
Hmm.
But nowadays, this trend is only focused on that. There's no culture. Where
Yeah.
all those? I don't want to sound that like that elitist, but where's the culture? Well, the books, the music, the real gathering
Right.
with people. Where is
Right.
it?
Right. Right. Where when you take it to the internet and all you have is the visual, all they have is the visual. To me, when you have somebody who has a channel, a Facebook, a whatever, and they say they're goth, if they don't take the opportunity to post music, I'm just like, to me, I was like, well, what are you wasting your time on? But you're not goth if you feel dark. Otherwise, Jeffrey Dahmer would be
Mhm.
goth. I mean, there's lots of people that would be goth. Some of the most suicidal people I've known were not goth. It's not
Mhm.
about I feel dark. And I was like, I don't
Mhm.
feel dark
Mhm.
every day. I feel dark some days, and I
Of course,
feel less dark other
i-
days, and it doesn't change that.
if you look at this video, you will find you can count the amount of times that I'm smiling and actually laughing. It's, you see, so
I don't know if I can
it's not
count that
about
high.
that. It's not about being gloomy all the time and all that
Right,
and
right,
faking. No, it's for me. It's just that sharing music with people, and we can
right,
talk about anything, any kind of religion, any kind of investigations about anything, and that's
right.
all.
Goths are people. And
Hmm.
people are interested in everything. Amongst all of
In
us, we are
everything.
interested in all things.
Hmm.
So it's very unusual for me to find someone who does all goth all the time. It could be because I talk to a lot of people. Most people I talk to are over 30, most are over 35. I mean, I have some groups of friends that are younger, and it just would have been inconceivable in 1988 to only listen to goth music. I've never I didn't know anybody like that. We listened to
In
all sorts of stuff.
1988, I will be, if I was in that time, I will after the Clash all the time, for example.
The Clash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
And loads of ska music. I love ska music,
Oh my
believe it or
God.
not.
Ska was
Yeah.
very popular in the late 80s, early 90s in Denton, Texas. I went and saw ska bands play locally all the time.
I will after that, because when I started into music and everything, I started with punk rock, and I used to go to this huge venue, which is closed nowadays, sadly, unfortunately.
Right.
But it was this huge gathering of reggae roots music, punk
Yes.
rock, ska.
Mhm.
There was some hardcore and a little bit of metal, but everything was dancing in circles to ska and punk. Getting
Yes.
kicked and smoking some pot and drinking. I only drink nowadays, a little bit of drink.
Well,
But in those days, that was my beginning in music. There wasn't
Right.
goth for me, at least for me. It was like maybe in the end of the 90s. And there was all kinds of music, and I didn't care about anything, like just maybe like now. The difference is that I have my hair longer, and that's all. But I'm still the same person with the same musical taste. Years ago, I don't know why I didn't decide it, but I just can't be away from goth music. That's all. But what we know as goth music. But still, I can enjoy anything, and if I lived in the 80s, I will do the same. I will just go to any music store and take anything that I like.
Yeah, you would have been at the same shows as me. You're talking about punk and ska. I was like, we would have been at the same shows.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, and the parties would be I don't know, it was just different before raves, before I first started to see raves, because that happened in the early 90s, right? There was something, I remember that. There was just a difference before and after raves. It's like everything got more slick. Here, more in the US, the cultures are different. Of course, we have different things that trend. Like in Germany, they have a lot more of the gothic rock. And in the US, we have, of course, death rock, because death rock comes from here. But when you listen to, especially Mexican goth, I always hear that death rock sound. Mexican and South. Everything south of the US border has, to me, more of a death rock sound. There's something a little bit different about it. And I have to wonder if it's because Latin America just kept goth and didn't, you don't have the waves like the rest of us have. First wave, say we're on like the fifth wave.
We got just one wave in one time. Like
so many shows in Mexico City, so many good bands that sing in Spanish or from Spanish speaking or Portuguese speaking countries, because Brazil's huge. And I love it. And so let's talk about your band, because we haven't really done that yet. So where does the name Last Dusk come from? Because Carfax was so interesting.
Okay, Last Dusk. Actually, right now, what's going on with this virus and all that, I'm starting to think that I choose a good name, because
oh my God,
it was
right.
By maybe 2009. No, it was 2010. People started to talk about the end of the world, and it was supposed. People started to talk about the end of the world. That in 2012 it will be the end of the world.
Yes, the Purple Cape guys. Yeah.
I started to write music, my own music, and to think forming this band, and everything started just like a studio project, by the way. And I needed a name. I was like, well, I want to make fun of that idea of the end of the world. So what about a Last Dusk? Like, that's all. The end. So Last Dusk is just that, the end of the world. But then after that, I started to take it more personal, like the last day of my life, maybe. I don't know
Right.
when it's going to happen. Then I decided that maybe today can be my last dusk. Every day can be. So it's actually I was living like that, and I'm still living like that. Like if it was the last day. So behind this gloomy name,
Hmm.
actually we have a very positive idea of living as
Live
if
your
it
life.
was your
Hmm.
last dusk. Yeah, you're free to choose how to live it. If you want
Right.
to be to be sad
Right.
or to be happy, it's up to you. But yeah, the idea is that to live like if it was the last day of your life, with a little of dark humor in there. Yeah,
Right. Well, dark humor is always appreciated.
of
But
course.
I like the idea of living like it's your last day because sometimes I think about things that terrify me. I do things that scare me all the time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why do I do this shit to myself? I'm constantly freaking out. And it's because I can't live with the what if. I can't live knowing that I didn't do this thing. I can't live with knowing
Mhm.
that I didn't try to do something one more time or give it everything
Mhm.
that I had. Because I've realized recently I'm a risk taker. I will take some pretty big risks because I can't live with the what if. And the older I get, the more I get like that. The more I'm like, I no, we gotta take care of this. We gotta just give it a shot. Try it. Just who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? You're gonna be shitty at stuff when you first try doing it, but you won't
Mhm.
be anything if you don't try.
Okay, yeah, I understand that because
Oh,
actually anxiety is my best friend.
oh.
I'm a
If we could
very
high
anxious
five, I would love
person.
to. Yes.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
same,
yeah.
same.
Yeah, anxiety is like my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I was very afraid about it, but then I started to see it like a superpower
Oh,
because it is what pushes me to make things. You know, for
right.
example, since I was a little kid, I really hated to not only to speak to an audience, actually to be surrounded by people. And still today sometimes I have that feeling of hating to
Mm-hmm.
be surrounded by people. Don't get it
Right.
wrong, it's just it's like a real condition, you know.
I
But
have
I
it. I
started,
have
yeah.
crowd fear. I call it
Yeah.
crowd fear, but I will freak out and have a complete meltdown if
Mhm.
strangers bump into me too much.
Yeah,
Which is
actually you
why I
you
always have a drink when I go to a show because I can't deal with the people otherwise.
that's me. Actually, if you start analyzing our well my lyrics on my songs, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always talking about it.
Oh, well, now I'm
It's
going to
like
go do that. You know that, right? Because I didn't have a
it's just
chance to listen to the album laying down in the dark because I've been so
Mhm.
busy. So
Yeah, don't
I
worry.
was no, but I'll do that because that's
Of course.
actually quite a decadent pleasure to just do nothing but listen to music. And I used to do it all the time when I was young,
Mhm.
all the
And
time.
actually, I guess maybe with my accent when singing, maybe it's not too easy to understand what I'm singing about.
Yeah, it is. No,
Yeah.
it's totally.
Okay.
I understand every word you say.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
that's good
but
news.
you know what? It's funny listening to Trismegistus, which God,
Uh-huh.
eventually I'll say that right. Listening to that, your diction is different there than it is now, than what you're singing now, and your back everything is actually different. Your what
Oh,
you're doing now is actually more complex and
awesome.
it's richer sound, but the
Thank
way
you.
you sing it is different. Your inflection, your vocal styling is different than it was in that album.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
it's your styling, your accent. Uh, Americans are very, or U.S. I'm sorry, I don't even know what to call my country because America is like a whole hemisphere. But we
Okay,
are
let's
resistant
make
to
a deal
accents.
about that. Let's make a deal about that. And I hope everyone who is looking at this interview
See,
understand this. Here in Latin America, we always keep struggling with that. Hey, we are Americans too. I
right?
decided to stop it. So you can call your country America. For me, it's okay. Don't worry for that. At this point in history, I believe you guys already earned that. That's the name of your country for me because have had this conversation with plenty of Americans, and in
Hmm.
the end, why not? Why not? Why? Why should
Right.
we keep discussing and arguing about things that divide people?
Well, it doesn't
It's
matter.
okay.
It
Just call it
ultimately doesn't
America. Just
matter.
call it America. It doesn't matter. Just call it America. It doesn't offend me at all. Don't worry
Okay.
for that. Okay.
Okay.
That's okay. It's America.
Well, and it should
Yeah.
make sense because our country, our history, maybe not where we are now.
Yeah.
We are not. The U.S. is not in a great place right now. I think the whole world knows that. But our
Yeah.
history is a nation of immigrants, unlike any other. And we accept,
Mhm.
when I was a kid especially, we accept those cultures. We not only accept those cultures, but many of us revel in those cultures. We love those cultures. I love to meet
Yes.
people who are different than me because if I wanted to meet me, I could just stay home alone like this all the time and be bored out of my mind. I like people who are different than me. And many Americans are the same. So when
Yeah.
you see people that are just like USA, USA, wearing their little MAGA hat, yes,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
unfortunately enough
Yeah.
people to vote a thing into the White House that I can't rectify.
Of course, yeah.
But a lot of us are actually very much love people who are different than us. We don't
Actually, no.
fear. We don't fear like people think we do.
No. Actually, maybe when I was in high school days, everyone in my class used to hate America
Yeah, I
and
believe
Americans
that.
for no reason.
Wait, high
And
school,
it
that'd
was
be 20,
Yeah.
20 something years ago. What year is it now? 26? Oh, was that after 9/11?
No, that
No, it
was
wasn't.
before.
It was before
It was
9/11.
before. I'm talking about maybe 1994, something like
Wow,
that.
Bill Clinton. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it was like everybody hates America, and we don't know why. Then I started
Because we're
learning
bullies. We're
English,
imperialist bullies who won't give up our imperialism and we think we know the best.
and we
we're-
were with this Latin American pride and all that. Then I learned, to be honest, there's nothing right with nationalism
Right.
and
Right.
patriotism and pride about your race. And I started to to meet American people and great people like
Some-
everywhere.
yeah.
There's
Right. They're
And
like
there-
everywhere.
like one of my friends says, there are idiots everywhere. I know
Yeah.
the worst idiots in my country
Right.
and
right.
everywhere. And I've been in many places, and there's idiots everywhere. But
Right.
I never focus on them. So I
Right.
cannot, I cannot, maybe I cannot tag you like a bad person just for being in the USA. Come on.
Yeah,
All the
that makes no
music,
sense. Hate responsibly. Hate responsibly.
please. All that music produced in the USA.
Okay.
How is possible that in my country, some people tell me, why do you sing in English when you're from this Spanish-speaking country?
Right.
Do you believe you're American? This and that. Wait, first of all, English wasn't made in America. First of all,
Thank you for pointing that out.
but it's your language, of course.
See.
But here, actually, people will immediately relate you with North America, well, with USA.
Yeah, North America's fine.
When you speak English, it's going to be just like
well,
a
your
automatic.
Western Hemisphere. Yes. See.
So I believe it's like time of stopping all that and okay, Americans are Americans. That's all. Let's get over it. We have, if we Latin Americans want to be proud of something, of our roots or whatever, we have plenty of it to be proud. We don't need to be jealous or to struggle or to fight for that. It's not necessary. It's
right.
ridiculous at this point.
Right. I feel like every culture has something to share, and every culture has something they want to hide. Well, we're all the same. We're ultimately, when you get down to it, we're all people, and those differences, the fact that we, as so often, make such a big deal about those differences makes no sense to me, because that's the thing that we should be celebrating, in my opinion. But then again, my opinion is not always the popular one. Oh, there, you look great. You look fantastic. Now I
Thanks.
can see more of your jacket, which I'm envious of. It's very pretty.
It was a gift from a very special friend from
Nice.
Mexico.
So we talked about Last Dusk, but I discovered that you were part of Draconius Incubus, right?
Draconian Incubus, yeah.
Yeah, and
It
I
was
have that album. I have it, and I think I have it on CD. And went back looking. I was like, oh, I wonder when they're coming out with another CD. And I think I saw was your name actually in there? Is that how I figured it out? Okay, it was probably your voice.
yeah. It wasn't my voice. I was the bass player there in Draconian Incubus.
Singing?
Huh?
You were the bass player. You're a bass player who sings, correct?
I'm a bass player who sings in Last
Right.
Dusk, by the way. It was the very first band where I sang was in Last Dusk, but in Draconian Incubus I was only the bass player. Yeah.
Okay. There was something about it that your name was in there. And I actually have that album and was hoping that there'd be another, but it's been over 3 years now. So are they going to put out another one? And will you get to be the bass player? I mean, will I get to listen to you as the bass player?
Well, actually, the band is split it like before before I started, just like maybe 1 year before I started with Last Dusk, and that was the reason, not the reason, but one of the reasons, is because in that time the band Draconian Incubus started to play something more like doom, like some kind of doom metal, or maybe what's that? What do they call the Black Sabbath song now? Doom
War Pigs?
or
I love that song.
yeah. What's the name of this? Oh, I actually like to listen to that music, but what's the name
I
of
call
it?
I call it heavy metal. I just call it metal because I don't know metal well enough to genre. I know metal or black metal, and the
Heavy
rest
metal
of
for
it.
me. Yeah, of course, if it is heavy metal for me, but yeah, some kind of dancing things and maybe witchcrafty. Have you heard witchcraft?
You know, I feel bad about this from all that the years I studied witchcraft. As soon as there's too much witchcraft in a band, like Wiccan witchcraft, I am no longer interested.
No, but have you heard about this band called Witchcraft? It's a great
No.
band.
Oh, it's
It's
a
a metal band.
band. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They were more oriented, like metal, heavy metal oriented,
Okay.
in that
Okay.
concept that you and I understand as heavy metal, like Black
Right.
Sabbath, which I like. I'm okay with it,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it a lot. But it was not like the old Draconian Incubus style, gothic rock style.
Right.
That was after Ariel left the band and started with his other band with Mannequin, not the Black
He
Halos.
was. So you also play bass in Last Dusk and sing, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I was like, you're not playing guitar. That's a bass. That's a bass. So you guys have something that is unusual these days, and that is a live drummer.
I know.
And also, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I may have to edit it out. A backup singer who sings on key and who has different styles. Stephanie is wailing that shit out because she has that sound of the early B-52s. You know what I'm talking about? Did you ever listen to the B-52s before Love Shack?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's that same kind of harmony that they had in their early work. You have that kind of.
We really like them. We really like the B-52s. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So that's my introduction to new wave punk is the B-52s, and then ska is madness. I mean, that's like when I was 11 or something like that. Old school. That's what my sister listened to. And so the harmonies that you have, I have to compliment you on those harmonies because they are fantastic. And the difference in singing between, I want to say it's Alone and the first song on the album. I thought I had that album up here somewhere. It's Alone, and I got to see the song, though. The song is Touch. You just said Touch. So between touch and alone, there's a huge difference in the backup vocals, and I
Oh,
have
you're
to
talking
applaud
about
that.
the background vocals. Okay, in touch, and
Right?
your song is, I believe, is Wanderlust.
Is it Wanderlust?
Yeah, those are the only two songs where we have a
So,
a
are you
guest singer, which is not from the band. It's just a
right? Well,
local singer that
there's one
decided.
that
Yeah.
sounds like a chorus of children.
Aha.
Is that Wanderlust?
Okay,
That's not
that's
alone.
alone. In the
Yeah.
chorus of children are actual children who
Oh
are
my God.
Ariel's sons. Yeah.
Of course, it's fantastic. I love it. I love it so much because it takes you from something that sounds very complex with a very beautiful long intro. I'm a person who loves a long intro. My playlists are albums. I am learning now I'm using DJ software to learn how to make a playlist. It's pathetic. But I don't do playlists. I do albums. I want to hear the story from
Give me a
start
five.
to end. Oh, high five.
You know why? Because I love long intros,
Me
and
too.
that's
Well, you did one, and I love it.
yeah.
I
Actually,
like
that's
it. It opens the story.
actually yeah. Actually, that's a huge discussion on the rehearsals or when we are creating a melody. It's like,
Right.
guys, I want to do this like a very long intro. Remember that song from that album from that band? I
Right.
want it that
Right.
way because I want people to enjoy just the the instrumentation, only the music for a while.
I love it.
After me
Love it.
breaking the nice music with my horrible voice. No, just kidding. But yeah,
None of
that's
that.
the idea.
None of that. Because you know what? You may not like your voice, but I have been put in my place by two different people that while I think I sound like a rusty old hinge, other people might like your voice. So just go with that.
No, I know it. I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I actually,
Oh, okay. Okay. I will stop lecturing.
yeah. With time, I learned to accept my voice, and everything is something that we keep growing. Sometimes there are things that we never we never grow, but
Right.
that's something that was a fear that I decided to
No. No.
to
Your voice is what I would call distinctive. And the thing is that if you think that you have to have the perfect voice, if you feel like you have to be perfect all the time, you'll never do anything, first of all. But if you're perfect, you don't stand out and people will get bored. I will be perfectly honest, people will get bored. Think about singers like Bob Dylan and Stevie Nicks. And Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin, one of the greatest singers of all time. I personally don't like Stevie Nicks or Bob Dylan. I have a hard time. Both amazing songwriters, fantastic, and people love them. So what people really want is a voice that conveys the feeling of what you're talking about. You write the lyrics, you sing. So I am not looking for somebody with a perfect voice. If I want to hear a perfect voice, I'll go listen to an opera. I'll go listen to the Night Queen or whatever. I forget. Oh, that one. And right, I will listen to an opera singer. Honestly, I don't want to hear a perfect voice. And one of my favorite things about Gothic rock is no auto tune. How do you feel about auto tune?
That was something that I learned also. It was like, well, in the beginning I always knew that making goth rock was pretty easy. That's something that I learned at the very beginning. But we're talking about years. Yeah, in the very first years of Draconian Incubus, it was let's make goth rock because we love it, of course, but it's really easy to do. And in those days, I didn't know even how to play bass guitar, for example, and I learned.
You are not the first person I have spoken to like that, and I have seen bands that sound great live, knowing the bass player has only known how to play bass for 6 months.
Yeah.
No, I will not reveal who it is, but I was like, damn, they did a fine job.
Actually, that happened to Stephanie. Okay, Stephanie started playing
drums.
Her drum 2014. Yeah, and that was because I needed to reform the band. Okay, this band has had like many members in all the history of the band,
Right.
but we got to very important point where we were making this huge step from being a studio band who rarely played on gigs, and that was when we got invited to Sacrosanct 2015.
That's in Europe, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in the UK. In the UK.
UK. Okay. All right.
And in that moment, I was like in shock. Wait, they are inviting us to play, so I'm ready for this. I'm going to tell the band, hey band, we're being invited to go to play in the UK. First Costa Rican bloody goth rock band ever playing
In the birthplace of Gothic rock. We're being invited to play in the birthplace of Gothic rock.
Yeah, and I was very excited about it, and I went to tell all the members, guys, are you with me in this? And they were like, yeah, we are. And guess what? After that, one by one, they left the band.
Why?
Fear to success, and being some just little. And I hope they are looking at this, watching this video. I really hope.
Well, you know, the greatest fear most people have is fear of success, fear of actually getting what you want. You work your whole life to get what you supposedly want, and then you're terrified of it. It's absolutely terrifying.
And, well, remember, we were talking about being anxious and all that. Well, I'm anxious. And some of them were just cowards. They were just in fear of fear, and they were not real. Let's be a little bit fair. Okay, I'm going to slow down my anger about it. Okay, it was not their thing. They're free to choose.
Right.
People in the end. They're free to choose. It wasn't their dream. Okay.
Free will.
So, of course, free will. Let's go back there. Of course, I need to to remember that and to be respectful with people. But yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. So suddenly I have my first important festival abroad, something very, very important for the band, which actually opened the gates for us to all.
Right.
So in that moment, it was me and nobody else. It was like Stephanie told me, I want to learn to play the drums. If you let me to play in your band, okay, let's do it. So she was all my support. Then we just got any guitar player and took it with us, and we did it. That was all.
Well, it's working out. You're doing
After that, we got several changes in the band, and it was until 2017 that we got Roberto, our current guitar player. And after that, I will dare to say that's the band that I wanted. He's still with us. Now we have a new keyboard player, and everyone in the band just is very committed to it, and they're free to do whatever they want. It's not like a prison, you know. But I'm really grateful to them because they're really helping me to make it, to really make it, to make the sound of the band as I have it here inside my head. I know we all have like an ideal of music, not only musicians, everyone inside their minds, and these people are really doing it. They have a lot of credit on them, of course. This is not like a one-man band, of course, it is not. I'm just the person who speaks English, well, a little bit of English here, but
Your English is absolutely excellent. Do not ever denigrate your English. It is fantastic.
Thank you.
Better than most native speakers, I might say.
Well, I know.
I think about it. A lot of your listeners will identify with the singer first and then the guitar second. But without a good rhythm section, without a good strong bassist, and without, you guys have a live drummer or a properly done drum machine, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I love
when you love a band, it's the whole band.
Yeah, I'm okay with them.
Yes.
But
yes.
well, I had a drummer from nowhere. She was there. She was my girlfriend, and she was like,
just kicking
I want
ass.
to play.
Just kicking ass. And I just fucking love the way she looks because it's different. Very different. And that's why I was hoping to get everybody. I was like, let's get her in this video. Oh my God, I love the way she looks. Because she doesn't look like everybody else. She looks like herself. And, that's the original goth spirit. You're just going to look the way you fucking look. Who cares? Because,
That's
kind of punk roots there.
Yeah, that's the way, actually, yeah.
Right. I can't believe she's just been playing drums that long. Having played drums one time, it was not easy.
That's the example of that, that it's never too late.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right, it's never too late until you're dead, and then you'll just come back anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really working, and I think the way you guys put everything together, it's unique to me, and having actually seen your beats per minute, I know this sounds stupid, but your beats per minute. But you have songs that sound slower that can go next to a sound with 70 beats per minute. With your 120 beats per minute, you sound slower than you're actually going. And it kind of feels like some of your touch, especially, sounds almost like melted chocolate while sitting on a velvet couch would feel. Think, you know what I mean? If you drink a fine drinking chocolate while you're sitting on a velvet couch, that is what that song feels like to me. And I know that it sounds odd to think about how a song feels, but that's what music does.
Thank you so much, because you really got it. It's like you're really getting the connection with the song, and you really understand it. It's great to feel like that, that someone is really listening and understanding. Yeah. I agree with your work.
Surely I'm not the only one. There's got to be other people, because I talk to people all the time that truly love this genre of music. But those of us who really love Gothic rock in the U.S., we don't get to have shows, so we have to experience it through albums. So I think I really like that you're different and you sound slow. And then when I see what's actually happening, you're not slow. And it just fits. It just fits. It's just kind of like when you put two things that are different next to each other and they make each other better. Does that make sense?
It's some kind of trick. Yeah, it makes sense. And actually, it's some kind of trick. I don't know how or when it is happening, but yeah, it's kind of little trick that we are using. We're trying to
very effective.
Faster and But it's great to know that someone is noticing. Yeah. Actually, I'm not complaining about the audience or nothing like that, because actually I know there's plenty of people who enjoys our music. Actually, almost never we have the chance of having this conversation of someone of a listener telling you that yes, you're getting there, you're doing things right and in the way that you want it. But even when the listener doesn't know what I have on my head, without knowing me, but in the end they understand that music better than me. It's great.
I don't know better than you, but yes. So what you're trying to do is actually getting across. And if I can hear it, then so can somebody else. Good job. So, okay.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, what made you think of doing 10th anniversary beer? Cerveza?
Cerveza. Okay.
People are following that trend. I've noticed 2 other bands have started doing that.
Well, actually, you can blame on Sonsombre.
Brandon, of course. Of course.
Yeah, that great guy.
Yeah, okay. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Hi, Brandon. We love you.
Hey, Brandon.
he released his own beer as well. It was first.
It was? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, it was.
I always knew about that beer factory. I don't know how to say the other word. That beer
Food
factory.
Correct.
Yeah.
See.
So I knew they were making beer for Dead Can Dance and Cymox.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they do. Dead Can Dance, Cymox, and The Witches.
I wanted to feel less like I was talking to someone on the internet and more like I was just talking to someone in a cafe or a bar.
Yeah, that was my idea tonight. Actually,
right.
As we are all like locked down and
right.
Yeah, and actually sometimes it just triggers like for nothing, and maybe you're not thinking of it, and you're maybe having a good time. It is just there all the time.
Yes,
and I have something else. If you ever have the chance to watch me on a stage,
I hope
have
so.
some trembling. I have some trembling.
Okay.
In my hands.
Yeah.
Like, nothing happening.
I switch words.
Yeah,
I say the wrong word.
And I switch conversations. I miss the point all the time. Like right now, I was going with the beer. It was.
Yeah, that's what I forgot what I asked about.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's me.
Sorry.
Yeah, he released his beer, and I was, wait, you have a beer? I want to have a beer. It's not envy. I just want to have a beer. So he gave me the contact, and he gave me the contact from this goth guy from Mexico, which, like every Mexican that I ever known, they are lovely people. And this top guy just told me, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about business. And he gave me the opportunity of releasing our own beer. So I was
didn't get any beer because there's a huge tax. I live in Texas, so we have an extra tax on beer, on any alcohol. There's tax, and then there's a separate extra tax.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's only in Texas, right?
Yes.
Texas tax or something like that.
We still have laws where you cannot buy liquor except for certain times. You can only buy it from noon until 9 p.m. It's stupid. It's stupid because you can buy enough alcohol to poison yourself at 6 o'clock at night. They're called blue laws. And when I first moved to Texas, you could not buy a toothbrush on Sunday.
What?
Really? Because
and that's the first world.
People get carried away with their view of Christianity that is quite obviously perverted from what Jesus would have done, because he would have washed the whores and beggars' feet. But they have a perverted look of what Christianity is. So what we have here, and that's from Prohibition. I mean, that is from 80 years ago. But we have people here who are evangelical. I don't know. Do you know what an evangelical is? They're terrifying.
We have loads of them here, and they are a huge problem. And actually, I don't mind if they watch this video. You know, they are getting into politics here. And it's terrible. Yeah.
I live with that. I live with that every day.
To be honest, I learned to respect somehow religions and even Christianity, but these guys are a mess. These guys.
Yes.
These
evangelicals.
High five. And actually, I know some of them are respectable human beings and love people. Yeah.
Yeah, evangelicals. I can't say that I dislike them. I am terribly, terribly afraid of them. I am just flat afraid of them. So I have no other way to say.
They are trying to control everyone's life. Oh, the issue with them is not their faith. It's only that they are trying to control everyone. Yeah.
Control with an unproductive asceticism to stop the rest of us from living our lives to the fullest. Because I'm a person, I ascribe to all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. That's kind of a, it's like a Wiccan thing. Because we should be getting the most out of life. And I feel like we should be kind to one another. That's true. And it's not kind to try to control somebody and try to force restrictions on them that are unnatural. I feel like it's unnatural.
Yeah, completely agree.
and I actually fear them, and that's not healthy either. And I understand that, but I still am afraid.
Actually, they are more afraid of us.
Oh.
Than,
yeah. I've definitely. Have you been asked if you're a devil worshiper? Have you been asked if you're a Satanist?
All the time.
Right. People I work with just kind of don't say very much to me, but I've been told before, and I don't wear goth makeup to work because I can't get it together. I can't make this before 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a devil worshiper? Yes, I am.
Yes. So I have gotten that devil worship stuff so many times. I'm like, what? I'm wearing a lot of eyeliner, so I worship the devil? But mostly, a lot of people at work do not. They just don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Fine by me.
Yeah,
Fine by me.
They just give you the look and go away. It's terrible.
Like, I wouldn't wear this. This is a Twin Tribe shirt. I would wear one with sleeves. Right. I know I love those guys. They're so sweet. But I do wear some of my band shirts and stuff to work. As long as it doesn't, I mean, the sides of these are cut out low. It's very open on the sides. But whatever I can, I wear to work, and nobody bothers me.
Actually, it's like some kind of shield that we have. That's our protection from society in the end, of course.
Yes. Some are afraid. It makes no sense because most of us are very peaceful. We just want to read or study or be left alone. But my favorite is people who say you wouldn't look like that if you didn't want people to look at you. People who think that we look the way we do for attention only. And most of us look the way we look in spite of that.
Actually, it's annoying to feel
it is.
Their side is like...
Right.
Actually,
people take photographs of me.
Actually, that's another reason that I hate going to malls, supermarkets. Yeah, it's like take me to a mall or a supermarket. It's a huge challenge for me, and actually I have to do it sometimes because we have to live. But actually, I take the challenge, to try to cope with it and to handle myself among crowds.
That is much more common than people who want attention. I have met people who look the way we do to get attention, and I do not understand them.
No, I get it.
I do not understand. I want to be left alone. I want to see what I like in the mirror. So I do this anyway in spite of those people. But I just leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, I hate when they call names on us. It's or they compare us to some despicable artist, or maybe not too despicable, or someone that has nothing to do with us. I really hate it. It's like, hey, you look like...
Yes, the lady from NCIS, I think, the lady with the ponytails. People I had black hair at the time. People told me every day I looked like her, and I was like, who is that? Because I didn't watch TV. I had no idea, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I leave people alone. If I don't like the way somebody looks, I stop looking. I don't say anything. Why would you do? I don't understand that need to say something.
Yeah. Why don't they just keep their mouths closed?
Right. So every goth night they play Every Day is Halloween. And every time I hear that, I'm like, yeah, yeah. Years later, I still love that song every time they play it. And most goth nights now start with that song here. I don't know if they do where
Awesome.
you are, but every night, every day is Halloween, so it's goth night now.
I don't remember the song by Parálisis Permanente. Maybe it was uh, Unidos. Search for that song, Unidos. And I will
United?
give you the lyrics. United, yeah. And there's also the song says something like United to Dominate.
All
Is that right?
right. I mean, I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, you will love the song. Yeah. And how do you say that? Hymn?
A hymn?
Yeah.
Like a Jesus song? An anthem. Anthem. Anthem.
Yeah. Anthem. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Here it's Every Day is Halloween. And
Yeah.
either Lucretia, My Reflection, or This Corrosion.
Of course.
Those are the things they play
That's
every
just
goth.
because the genre. Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
The same here. But talking about something that like is very representative and maybe
Same.
in the streets, our daily life,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Maybe Unidos or can't recall. I'm sure there's plenty of anthems out there that I cannot recall, but I know the
Yeah.
feeling of being in a party in a club night, and suddenly you have this sound that really represents your feelings
See.
against
See.
society.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Great,
Right.
great
There's
feeling.
there's a lot of music that can do that for you. And
Mhm.
society as a whole doesn't think. Society
Yeah.
as a whole is Homer Simpson or a sitcom or something. Hank Hill in the U.S. Hank Hill. It's a never step outside of what the expectations are. So when you step outside of that expectation, you are
And
frequently
it's
mocked.
funny because it had happened even within goth.
Oh yeah, right.
But that's when the grown people, maybe people that is more normal than they know they are,
Right.
and they step into goth and try to control it as everything else outside goth. That's when we
See.
have that issue.
See,
Because we are open to accept anyone, I'm sure.
see, absolutely.
Right?
Right.
So I
We
know
accept
there's
all
people.
the weirdos. We accept the
Mhm,
weirdos, and we
of course.
accept you if you're normal. Just don't try to change the rest of us.
That's right. But there's some normies.
See,
There's some normies
see,
that try to get in to tell us how to do things, and maybe when they discover, and that's pretty funny. I really laugh when that happened. For example, at the beginning, I don't know, was that recorded when I was talking about, well, speaking about ska music, that I like ska music. Some people that are going to tell you, hey, that's not God, and that's not
right.
so goth from you. Sorry.
I have actually heard
Not sorry.
musicians that I've talked to say that people tell them they are not goth enough.
Who
A
cares?
person creating goth music is not goth enough. What is that? That makes no sense to me. And
Are we going to start talking about the Sisters of Mercy now?
Sisters of Mercy is one of those bands. I love Sisters of Mercy. Do not get me wrong, but they're dated. They sound like they're from the 80s, early 90s. They definitely sound like that. They're very important to us, but they are the perfect example of how goths don't have a specific look. When Andrew Eldridge comes out, he's wearing that dumbass cream-colored suit, but he doesn't look goth. I mean, he also is kind of a jerk and says he's not goth. But at the same time, Robert Smith says he's not goth, and he always looks goth. I love that he still does his hair and he wears this smeary red lipstick. I think it's fantastic. And they are amazing musicians at this point. They are so good live. Those roots of goth are not all like black, I don't mean to offend, but black vampire look. There is more to goth than that. There is more to goth than talking about death. Now, I personally am a person with fixation on death, so I accept that about myself. But I mean, it runs the gamut of feelings. And when I see people talk about gothic literature but leave out existentialism or nihilism, I mean,
Yeah.
nihilism is not only black metal. Black metal does a really good job of it. But there's some nihilism in goth as well, and existentialism. So
Yeah.
I don't get why people think we have to go back to the 1800s to have some literature. That's not true. Y'all read all sorts of stuff, and then you start writing about it. Whatever you're doing at the time is usually what most of you are writing about, in my experience talking to musicians.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Most of musicians that I know will tell you exactly the same things that you just said. It's like,
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of y'all at this point. But anyone who writes poetry or
No.
novels or
I
anything
mean-
or does art, same thing.
you don't need to be a musician to think like that. It's just like a human way of thinking. Actually, I don't know any musician from whatever genre
Right.
who is like not going to play anything just because they're stuck on their music, on their genre. It's like,
Right.
for example, myself. Maybe someday I could play something, whatever else,
Mhm.
just because I want.
Right. You'll be playing the blues next week. The Delta
Probably.
Blues. Lightning
Actually-
Hopkins, here you come.
Actually, there is a blues festival here every year, and I'm missing it. But I want to go every year, but I never can. I went just twice,
Mhm.
like 8 years ago or something like that. But I missed going to this place, this blues festival, to this local festival organized by one of my friends. And I really miss that music, like listening to blues music live here with. Actually, we have musicians from the U.S. A lot of them.
Mhm.
Last time I remember, this guy was Texas Johnny Brown.
I
Do you
don't
know him?
No, I don't know
He
modern
was
blues. I
raised
know
here.
old, very old blues, like the Delta Blues, like Robert Johnson, Lightning Hopkins,
Mhm.
Gishi. Well, Gishi Wiley is kind of a country blues or whatever. But
These guys
I-
coming here are
Yeah.
from that school. They are coming
Mhm.
from that old blues school. And this guy, Texas, he was like 93 years old when he came.
Oh, I bet he was good. I love the blues, like the old school blues. Good stuff.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was a true master. He was so mystical and everything,
Mhm.
I just couldn't believe it. His presence and everything. Very few musicians can give me that feeling, and
Mhm.
plenty musicians that make you feel like that. But he was a blues in person, and
Mhm.
93 years old and still playing. Well, he
Right.
passed away
right.
like years after that, but it was amazing.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
your voice does not really hit maturity for most of us until 50 to 70 years old. So you've got a few years left that you're going to sound great, and you're just going to sound better and better. So at 93, yes, it's starting to go, but 70 years old, you're going to sound great.
This man was amazing at his age,
Mhm.
still singing,
Yeah.
releasing
yeah.
an album. He was releasing an album. Actually, his only album was released like before coming to Costa Rica at that time. And yeah,
Really?
amazing voice. Yeah,
Oh, that's
Texas
going to be
Johnny
good.
Brown.
Well, I
Google
think when you're old, when you're really old, you have so much wisdom and you have so much to share, and you don't care what anybody thinks anymore. So you're going to
Yeah.
share it in the way that it needs to be done. And I think that with very old blues singers, I think that really comes across.
Mhm. And that's something that we have learned in Goth, showing that this is not only a stage. Actually, I keep telling people I want to be buried as Bela Lugosi did with my Dracula uh, costume and everything, because if he did,
Fair.
why not me?
Well,
What not?
exactly. Why not you?
Look at Peter
And-
Murphy now. He's out
Right.
there kicking asses. Well,
Yeah, 60 years old, kicking ass most days. Well, actually
Yeah.
kicking ass for real.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was doubtful because, well, nowadays every concert is getting canceled. But yeah.
But I saw Peter Murphy when he did the last thing with David J. Right? It was David J. the bass player, and we got there late. It's one of the only concerts I ever got to late, behind a wall, so I had to watch through my cell phone. That part was horrible. They sounded so good. I just so good. I could not believe just how good they were live and how Peter Murphy sounds even better than when he was young. He sounds so good,
That,
and they just gave
for a
it
fan,
everything.
that's a relief to hear. That.
Yes, yes, yeah. The Passion of Lovers has never been my favorite song. I can't believe how good it was when they did it. Because I'm a Silent Hedges kind of person. I like Silent Hedges and Hollow Hills. I like the real creepy stuff. But the Passion of Lovers, when they did that, they did a very long version of it, like a 7 or 8 minute version of it, and it was better than I've ever heard on any album. So good. So yes, as you age, your voice, for most of us, so some of the higher voices will peak earlier, but your voice is just going to get better and better until you're about 80, 70, 80. So keep making music. Okay,
Yeah, of
so
course. I want to be there at
see,
80 and see what happens. Of
well,
course.
as a creative person, if you stop creating, you will not be the same person. I've been there.
No,
Don't do it.
actually, at any point, we have always our ups and downs.
Right.
I have been with that idea, with these negative ideas, or stop doing things and giving up. We're humans.
Right.
One day I was like, I will never ever dare to think like that again. I just can't
Right.
stop. I just can't
Right.
stop because that's
Wisdom.
on inside of myself. That's within my head all the time. It is trying to, it's like knocking from the inside to out, trying
Yeah.
to
See,
escape from
see.
me.
One day you
So,
realize that if you don't create, you might as well die because a part of
mhm.
you will be dead. So you will continue to create, even if it is in small ways, even if you
Yes.
have to pull inside yourself and do very small creative things, you will still create until it can come out again in a larger way. And that's you.
hmm
You're actually reaching that wisdom at a very young age, I think.
Yeah, actually, that's important, to be grateful to yourself
Yes.
always, with the little things, because
Hmm.
always those little things are going to be bigger, are going to grow. And yes, I learned to do that, like to, yeah, maybe this melody that is in my head could work,
Right.
and
Right.
stop like judging myself, like, no, that's not okay. It's like trying to, it's like learning to love yourself in the end, to accept
Oh,
yourself, and to
right.
be
The only
grateful with
person
every
you have
idea.
to be with every day is yourself. But
Hmm
also, it's the wisdom and following your intuition because what you feel is right for you is probably right. The only difference I've found with age is being able to know the difference between infatuation and intuition.
hmm
And I feel like at much younger age than me, you've actually started to figure out the difference.
Yeah.
Good job.
Great.
Last question, and I ask
Okay.
everybody this. What would you like to say to your fans? What is a message that you would like to convey to your fans?
Well, first of all, um, just like the best words will be thank you, but very, um, this is coming from my heart. Honestly, it's not like just thank yous. I really appreciate that support because we're talking about people, and I know them. I know they are like you, and they used to tell us, and I'm not talking in third person, tell us, to the whole band, um, what we mean to you all, the best words is thank you. We actually really, really love you. And this is something that maybe is annoying for some people and annoying for some musicians that I have heard, and I have seen their reactions, and I don't fucking care, because you are all family to us, and I keep saying that all the time. And I know some people are too cold at heart and they don't accept that concept. Well, sorry for you guys, but I really mean this. You're family to us, and we really, really appreciate everything that you do to us. And I mean it in the way of understanding our music and our art and what we are doing. And yeah, it wouldn't be the same. I know there's many musicians and artists that keep complaining about support and how empty their gigs are. We don't think of like that. And again, I'm not talking in third person. The whole band, we don't think. We are not lacking in love. We actually really feel it. We know where we are. We know who we are. We can play. Well, it's not the case, but if we ever have to play just for people, that's okay with us. We will feel very supported. If we were playing for thousands of people, we don't care about it. We will. And I'm telling you this because I know there are some rock stars that keep complaining about how small local bands are not being supported. Come on, fuck up. We have support. There's serious people and people with um, a very good taste in music that could teach you something about life, and you're missing it for playing the diva. So, yeah. In our case, we really appreciate that support, and we really recognize, and you all have a very special place in our hearts. I really mean it. It's like after learning all these years, I know it. I'm pretty sure. I know we are very few gods out there, but who cares? That will be, yeah.
Wait, hang on. Let me see if I can do it together. There we go. Together.
Actually, I like this. Before
Oh, the
victory.
peace sign? Beautiful. Beautifully said. I could not agree more.
You know what? I keep telling that to people all the time. It's not only in an interview. Every time that I meet someone and they tell me they are our fans, which is like, well, thank you for being our fans, but it's more than that for us. It's not just like it's not like just being followers, because you are not. You're actually, we owe you this band. You're keeping it alive, actually. Yeah.
It's an exchange.
I know. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's an exchange. That's what I want to say. It is like an exchange. It's not like this is my music and I do it how I like it. Of course it is, but fortunately there is a huge coincidence of people that we found and they found us to share and to exchange all that.
See.
Yeah.
See.
See.
See. Yeah, did you not notice I've been saying "see" the whole time? It's like the one word I know for sure.
And it's cool. Like it, yeah, it's good.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for doing the interview and for indulging me and for talking about every other thing in the whole wide world as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you for, you know, and this is very important. I don't like interviews, but I knew I will really enjoy this one. And
really?
I never do. Yeah, I never do interviews because I have had very bad experiences, but I know when someone is going to do it right. So thank you. It was amazing.
Thank
It was
you.
an amazing experience. Yeah.
You are so very kind. You're so very kind. I appreciate it. I honestly I choose my interviews very carefully. I only
Well,
interview bands I like.
we both do the same. I can see it.
Right,
You
right.
choose
You,
your
well,
interview, I choose mine.
you are not the first person to say that you don't do a lot of interviews. So I'm honestly shocked when people accept the interviews because I understand that I have a small channel and my reach is small. And while I will share it everywhere, my least viewed videos are my music videos, my videos about music. If I just wanted to build my channel, I'd just do a bunch of DIYs and just blabber on about nothing. So I appreciate when musicians are willing to talk to a very small channel and actually take the time to really interact,
Well,
and really appreciate the fans.
maybe I'm not the only one that believes this, but maybe it's not a small channel. I believe it's important because you're doing it
Oh,
right. You're
oh.
really going there. You're doing it right. For example, I will reject. No sé, I don't know. Let's say whatever the BBC.
Oh
Maybe
man.
maybe I
Yeah.
will reject them because that depends on the interviewer. If that interviewer is you, I will be there.
Oh, you're
You
so
see,
nice.
last time I remember this in Mexico. I had an interview in Mexico for well, we have an interview in Mexico for that was Dark Magazine, and it was cool because it was with this same feeling, this
Mhm.
familiar feeling, this gothy friendly feeling, like we are among the same people, and I really
Right.
enjoy it. You know when to and how to choose an interview and when to accept. So of course, since the first moment when we made the contact and they told me, well, it was June who told me. Uh, I was like, really? That's great.
Really?
Yeah, I want to do it. Of course, yeah.
Because I'm just out here floating free. I have no, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm just kind of playing it by ear. I have no plan of what I'm going to ask you. I only have the one question that's consistent. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what will happen when I interview
That's
somebody.
my kind of interview. Yeah, that's why we like keep doing it because remember we're all just people,
Right.
and I'm sure this is just about talking, not all these
That's the goal.
robotic. I hate
To,
those robotic or stupid questions like
uh,
no basic questions.
I
So
know
you
they're
don't have to.
terrible. You might as well have one interview and just copy it everywhere. I like when I see an interview and something happens where everybody is just a person, where they are
Yeah,
a human being and part
it's
of what
more,
I'm part
it's
of.
more it's more like being in a party, having a drink,
Yeah.
and that's all. Yeah,
Right. Right. That's actually the goal. And I appreciate very much that you actually seem to understand what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to have the
it's an
best,
honor for
most
me
professional
being here.
interview. Huh?
I really hope it's an honor for me being here.
Oh, you
I
are
really hope
far
you
too
keep
kind.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. What we were talking about earlier, that some people dress like this because they think they are going to be liked.
No, they're not. No, you are not. People are going. We had a company party and somebody dressed in some kind of lovely coat, similar to what you wear. And somebody actually mentioned it to me because, I mean, I may not wear full goth makeup because I can't pull it off, but I still have the hair and my eyebrows are still shaved off, so it's still obvious. And somebody mentioned it to me as to what that person wore. And I was like, "Oh, did he wear makeup? Was he really fancy?" "Oh, I don't know. Probably not. I didn't notice." And I thought, huh, I'd have thought you'd be more open minded to that. Well, here we go. So there are two of us in my company of 500 people.
Well,
I'm grateful to have two.
well,
So,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. People who you think get you
Works.
still don't.
I'm always the only one. It's uncomfortable.
I am definitely the only one like me. People don't know how to handle me, and they frequently talk about my hair. They have to mention my hair, and I get very tired of talking about my hair. I don't know. When my hair is brand new and fresh and very, very bright, people just kind of, they just look to the side and they don't say anything. Not at work. If I go to a restaurant, if I look like this in a restaurant, there will be photos. People will take photos. People will laugh at me. People will talk about me. People will yell to each other about me. But people will also cross a dangerous street to tell me they like my hair.
Or they will point at you.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I find that there are a lot of people who are kind. And as I was telling someone, everybody loves me because I don't pay so much attention to the ones who don't. I have learned through the years that you cannot concentrate on the people who are negative and who hate you without knowing you. But if you don't know me and you don't like me, you don't mean anything to me. And it's sometimes with the anxiety, I feel very bad, like people are staring, and I start to panic. But
I know.
Overall, I concentrate on the people that I know and love and who love me.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference. And, the more I feel like that, the more people I find that will actually love me exactly as I am. If that makes sense. I have made, even online, I've made a couple of very good friends. Not very many, because, of course, there are always narcissists out there that want to use someone like me who I want everyone to feel heard. I want everyone to feel good. So, but I've still managed to make good friends.
Of course. No, in the end, the other day, it was actually Stephanie who told me if they actually know us, they will love us.
Right.
People in the street.
Yes.
Because we actually always treat people like people, just like we respect and even love and everything. It's like if they even know that we are not like trying to like planning how to kill them.
Yes, if they will give you 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and I love to shock people by being very polite and very kind. Sometimes I use it because people piss me off, so then I'm super kind. I'm very kind, and they don't know what to do, and it scares them. But usually I like being nice to people. I like for people to have a good day and to feel good. And a lot of times people don't think that someone who looks like this is going to be like that.
And there's something, the dark side of all this. Okay, yes, we are polite, we are lovely people, but sometimes, what if they get us in a bad day? I am the worst prick. When they get me in a bad day, I'm really anxious, and they are laughing at me in the street or something. I can cross the street and start yelling at them.
Ooh.
And confront them. I can, but believe me, I try to control that. I hate violence, and I'm not the best person to have a fight, like physical fight. But sometimes you just can't avoid that.
I stare at people until they get very, very uncomfortable. I mean, I
do the same. Staring at them. Yeah, like, okay, are you looking at me? I will start looking at you.
Same.
And you're telling things to your girlfriend about me. I will do the same. And we start like making a mimic of the situation. Yeah. And people really, really scared, and they just leave.
Well, because they're acting like jerks. They're being mean for no reason. They do not know you. They have no reason to dislike you other than their own fear of being different. It's their own fear. Because gives a shit what you look like? It doesn't matter. This is literally just a meat suit, and we decorate it the way we're going to, and the essential self is what is important. But people don't realize that, and living in this ultra-capitalist society, we don't care about that. We care about the things that are not important. Like, physical beauty has little to no meaning. I mean, really, It has little to no meaning. A person cannot be truly beautiful without it coming from inside. You can be pretty, you can be pleasing to look at, but you cannot be beautiful unless you are beautiful on the inside. And people just don't understand that. So it's their loss. If they don't like you just based on seeing you from across the street and they have no idea who you are, it is absolutely their loss. They're the idiot, not you. But again, with anxiety, my anxiety constantly tells me people hate me. So I have that fight every day.
It's a daily fight. I never got medicated. Imagine that. Never.
Well, it may or may not. I reacted badly. I had one medication did nothing. One medication made me suicidal, and one medication gave me night terrors and sleep paralysis. So I take vitamins. I don't medicate. I just
nowadays
freak out.
I'm cured from night terrors. Nowadays.
Good. Those are bad. Those are very bad.
The sleep paralysis as well.
Good.
I hate it. It was my own prison all the time, and it's difficult because maybe most of your friends, they don't accept it or realize, or maybe they believe you're pretending just to be interesting, and I don't need to pretend to be interesting. Yeah.
Right. I'm weird enough without acting about the anxiety. So I'm very lucky now. People believe I have anxiety, and I have people that I can actually tell what is happening at the moment, and they will protect me. They will help me. My best friends, my closest friends will help me.
Yes, I have the same connection with some friends, which they know, and they are like, yeah, okay, take it easy, don't worry, everything's fine.
Right. In a crowd, if somebody will even just hold my hand, I will be okay. If I can hold their sleeve or hold their hand, I will make it through that crowd. Without that, I don't even know how to. It feels like there are speakers all around my head screaming at me, and things just pushing me and punching me. That's what a crowd feels like. It's very bad.
The physical response, like your emotions start to come out.
Yes.
And all these fast heart beating and everything, the pressure and everything.
Yes. Last week I woke up with panic. And my head was weird and my heart was pounding. It took me 2 days to figure out that what I had was panic, because I thought I had the coronavirus because I couldn't breathe. And I finally figured out that I woke up, and I still don't know what the panic was. I just woke up and couldn't breathe, and I felt very weird, and my heart was beating very fast for 2 days before I realized it was panic, because I have panic disorder, but I have panic. Let me think. I have anxiety. I have the real thing, anxiety. I have panic disorder. I have what's called complex PTSD, which is childhood trauma. And I have it's agoraphobia, but it's the fear of crowds. It's a form of agoraphobia.
Yeah.
And so I deal with quite a bit. I cope really well. I don't know how. I honestly, I don't know how I do some of it. I just freak out. I just get into my car, play loud music, and cry on the way home sometimes, and that is my medication. So, but I do well. I have a very, very good support network. I have very good friends that, if it's really bad, they will get me through it.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. It's like being supported, actually. Yes. It's like they are always there and they know you.
Yes. Yeah. Very few people, I don't know if it's the same for you, people do not understand me. They don't try. They see one thing and they want that one thing, and they want to use it for everything they have. but they don't know me. They see the person who's funny, they see the person who is smart, or they see the person who is loud, but they don't actually see the whole person. And people who see the whole person are worth everything in the world to me. And I have like very few, 5, and I'm lucky to have 5 people that are like that. So, you know,
I can count them, maybe something like that. It's people like
see,
will not judge you,
right,
never.
right,
Yeah, and maybe it's more than 5, but you never see them all the time. I know they are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the older I get, the more I'm able to recognize those people and hang on to those people and get rid of the ones who are not like that. Because I don't have time for that.
Always do that. Always
Right.
keep
Right.
them apart from you. Of course, I know
Right.
it.
Yeah.
It was
Narcissists.
difficult for me to learn that, but yes.
Yes. Narcissists will find people like us, and they will use everything you have.
Mm-hmm. Actually, yes. It's like, because whenever someone comes to you asking for help, you're going to bring them help.
Yes.
And maybe you're blind, and maybe they are going to take advantage of you. I know it.
Yes.
That's why I have several lyrics talking about it.
Right. Like I'm going to listen to your music more because I feel like I'm going to get more out of it. Definitely.
Listen to Wanderlust, The Fool, and can be I Wonder, which is not my lyrics, but it's the same feeling.
That's a good song.
Yeah, it's not my lyrics, but Wayne, he did a great job with those lyrics.
I have talked to Wayne. Yeah. He is I like Wayne and David very, very much. I agree with you very much on that. So yeah, I just told David I like him. I think it makes him nervous. But he's been so nice to me. And both of them have been so nice to me. Every time I've dealt with them, they've been very, very kind.
We never talk about Secret Sin records today.
Oh shit, we didn't. But yeah, your Secret Sin Costa Rica.
Huh?
Are you going to get Mario? Are you going to get Ariel Maniki? Are you going to get him on your label? Are you going to do it?
On the label? Well,
yeah.
He's free to come inside, of course, but he's with Deepland Records from Brazil, which is a wonderful
they're good. They're good.
They're actually Last Dusk. We used to be signed with them. That was before Secret Sim came out to the light again.
Yes.
But yeah, they're terrific. If whoever has a band out there, I recommend to work with Deepland Records. They are one of the most responsible and respectable labels, with musicians and bands.
And also Secret Sin. I
know. But actually, well, they still sell our CDs and everything. And
I saw that.
the reason we came to Secret Sin is just maybe mere coincidence. We will be very comfortable with them still, but we have to move forward to Secret Sin.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Yeah,
I think Secret Sin is a very good fit for you. They have a more diverse catalog than some other labels do, and again, having dealt with both David and Wayne, I can't imagine you being in better hands. Well, also in your own hands, because you're the Costa Rica Secret Sin. So there you go. You get to be in your own.
And actually, it's not because Secret Sin it's better. It was just coincidence. I started to work with Secret Sin, so why not moving my band over here just to have it at hand, and that's all.
Right. No, and Wayne has a stake in your band because you've used his lyrics, so it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. And people move labels for all sorts of reasons. It's not because you hate the last label. That's rarely why people leave one label.
No. Actually, Deepland are the greatest label for me in this side of the world, to be honest.
Oh, good to know. I have several releases from Deepland, so I'm familiar with that label. I
Yeah.
haven't talked to them, though. Maybe I should. So, hey, thanks for watching. Until next time.